Jarhead is a 2005 movie about the first Gulf War, starring Jake Gyllenhaal and directed by Sam Mendes. Now, I can't say I was going into this one particularly excited. While the audience reception does seem to be fairly positive, critical response is certainly mixed. Some hail the film as one of the best war films of the decade, and others believe it was a bit of a misfire. Unfortunately, when it comes to Jarhead, I agree more with the latter. It's definitely not the worst movie in the world. It's not Tears of the Sun or Gods and Generals level bad, but it's certainly a failure. Not awful, but still somewhere below the okay level. I'll start by talking about the film's plot, as that is definitely one of the weaker elements in my opinion. First of all, the lack of action is definitely not an issue I have with it. It's actually quite interesting to see a war movie like this be more focused on the waiting process of being at war. But while it is interesting as an idea, I can't say the execution was all too great. A movie solely devoted to waiting for war could be great as either a drama or a thriller, but I feel like you do have to pick one for it to work, and this movie can't really decide which it wants to be. So instead, it becomes a jumbled, poorly written mess. It seems like the characters don't so much have character arcs, but character fluxes. One minute Jake Gyllenhaal's character is furious about them not getting any action during the war, the next he is completely calm and ready to go on with his mission again. It seems to me like they were planning on giving him some character developments and then realised it would be too inconvenient for the plot if he were to act like that, so they had to go back on it in the very next scene. And this is true for basically all the characters in the movie. I feel like by the end they're all the exact same people who I met at the beginning, and that nothing has changed in the slightest. Also, the structure of the plot is pretty odd too. The first 20 minutes or so is him getting drafted and trained by the drill sergeant and then getting to the location where the majority of the film will take place. The next hour and 10 minutes is spent at the camp where this character development would normally be taking place, but here it is pretty much just static, and on occasion the characters will begin to have an arc, but then will be cut off by the writers. It feels somewhat like two people are making up the story as they go, and they're taking it in turns to make up new stuff in the story, and one of the people makes a decision that the other person doesn't like, so when it's that person's turn, they just erase the other person's decision entirely. That's basically how the first hour, 20 minutes feel. And then the next 20 minutes is with the soldiers being at war, and the last 10 minutes the Russian message about PTSD and never really leaving Iraq, and it all rings hollow because it was never built up in the slightest. So it didn't feel like it left me with anything at all. It's too scattershot in its plotting to connect through that, and the characters are too inconsistent and unlikably written to get an emotional hook through them, so it just leaves the movie feeling completely pointless and frankly a waste of time. Also, the sheer amount of references in this movie, like my god. In supposed homages to other war films, this movie will steal lines, scenes, and even straight up characters from other and better war films. It even shows clips from some of these movies. Hey guys, you remember the Ride of Valkyrie scene from Apocalypse Now, right? We're just gonna throw that in here, because why not? That scene is also the perfect representation of how painfully unsubtle the movie is. Wow, they're clapping here, so that must mean that they're not meant to be clapping, because the scene doesn't want you to clap for that side, so they're wrong. So they also apply that knowledge to the Iraq War. I mean, it's pretty damn simple messaging, but even that's some of the best messaging in the film. But the movie that Jarhead undeniably steals from the most is Full Metal Jacket. In a way, it could almost be described as Full Metal Jacket Light Mode. Just a worse version of that film. The themes and how the themes are portrayed are nearly the exact same in both movies. It's quite easy to see, and while maybe it's attempting to be a companion piece to the movie, to me it just feels like it's ripping it off. The characters, like I said earlier, are all very one note. They don't really go through much in terms of arcs. With that said, though, the acting is fairly good. While Gyllenhaal, for the most part, is competent, apart from a few scenes where he's great. But I think Jamie Foxx really steals the show. The amount of charisma he has nearly creates a character by itself, but pretty much all the acting is at least competent, and the actors did a good job with a pretty poor script. Moving on to the cinematography, I think it's actually one of the best parts of the film, and it's honestly most of the reason it's not much of a failure as Tears of the Sun. The cinematography slowly darkens as the film goes on to represent the soldiers' moral and excitement to be in Iraq. It starts off with really bright lighting, and by the end, even the morning scenes are visibly darker. Its visuals are better at communicating the themes of the movie than the actual movie itself, and it further proves that Roger Deakins is one of the best working cinematographers today. But although the cinematography is inspired, overall the movie felt like a bland retelling of other better movies, with bland characters and lazy writing. And I'm going to give the film overall a 4 out of 10. Thanks for watching. My Fistful of Dollars review became pretty popular all of a sudden, so I'm in the process of making a review for a few dollars more right now, so hopefully that'll be coming out soon. Leave a comment if you have any review suggestions, and I'm also thinking about covering some more war movies soon, so let me know if you would want that. Anyway, thanks for watching, see you in the next video, bye.